and welcome back to the IWAR Network Tubecast. I'm your host, Alex G, and with me, as always, NWL BRL Commissioner Matt Riley, CWL and IWAR Commissioner Mr. Anderson. How are you gentlemen doing this evening?
Awesome.
Sounds great. Awesome. Nice job.
Awesome. I always wait for Matt to talk first.
There's nothing more entertaining than awkward silence.
Yes.
That's me on every date.
It's diarrhea night.
So this episode will be the spring 2019 cycle in review. And I guess we're going to start off with our IWAR questions. So Mr. Anderson.
Nice. Okay.
You want to go through our IWAR questions?
Sure, definitely. Mr. Swanson asks, what's been your favorite feud in the IWAR thus far? And do you have any dream feuds that you'd like to see that haven't happened yet? I'm not sure if it's... Okay, so a favorite feud that we've been in or favorite feud IWAR-wide, like not including ourselves.
I wouldn't say yourself.
Okay.
I'd say someone else's.
I would say the first one that comes to mind, just because it was more recent, was Jamie Montgomery versus Barry Stevens and Dixon Ticonderoga from last year. I don't know if that would, like, if I sat back and thought about the 3 years I've been back, if that's not number one, it's probably top three. I really enjoyed that.
Matt, what do you got for us?
Oh, boy. I would say, dipping way back in the machine, there was a great feud between the role model Jimmy Digital and Damien. That was an NWL, and they did a really good job going back and forth.
Yeah, because they didn't copy any of my stuff.
And I did enjoy Luther versus Scotty Flash because of the grandmother angle. That was always fun.
That was a great angle.
Yeah.
You remember that one, Mr. Anderson?
I was not around for that one.
So that angle was... So Luther was trying to get his United States citizenship at the time. So what he did, he tried to marry Scotty Flash's grandma. And then when they were at the altar, Scotty Flash's grandma took off her mask and she revealed that it was Zaccaroni, the San Francisco Heat, the entire time.
Oh, it's a disappointing wedding night.
What about your?
There's been so many over the years. I mean, like, where do I even start with this? It's such a vast amount of really good feuds, over the years. So if I had to narrow it down to one of my favorite feuds, Killer Clown versus Rock Simpson.
Yeah.
It's way up there to me. I think that's probably my favorite feud of all time. Like, that was really good. And the story they told in that last kind of pay-per-view match that they had was amazing. Yeah. I really like not that I don't like NWL now, and it's great and I love it, but like NWL like 3 years ago, like that shit was fire. Like it was so many good guys in at the time. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, a lot of crazy fun stuff happened. I remember the nonconformist belt.
Yeah.
That was just. Yeah. I tell people all the time. It's like, remember, for a long time I would always be like, oh, I don't know, but I do think that just go for it. Tell your story, make it worthwhile, and avoid writing fatigue. I have a lot of players over the years. We mentioned this last time that would say like, oh, I did a lot of TT, but no one responded, and they get frustrated. So I'd say change up your game. Don't be afraid to like call somebody out. Like when you do
hit him with a stick.
Hit him with a stick.
Here's the thing.
Worthwhile.
Here's the thing about feuds overall. They have to progress. Like, you can't be feuding with the same guy forever. And eventually you have to come to a point where, like, this is enough. Because realistically, because the way the IWA is set up, you can feud with someone forever. And you guys are trading wins back and forth. But it has to be, like, a big match to end it all. There has to be a Hell in a Cell or a Russian death match or something to put an exclamation point on this thing.
Perfect example of that is in the BRL, we had like a 2-year feud between the Disciples of Doom and the Leather Brigade. And it never really, it kind of like just, and a lot of times too, people will start off and be like, within the first second promo, they're like, I want a Hell in a Cell death match. Like, dude, you just started fighting. And I know that way, the timing's off because of cycles and weeks, whatever. But still, you got to build up to things. Whereas, like the Suburban Hell Savages versus the Disciples of Doom have been more built around events and kind of storyline. Ghostly Shadows took out Punk Rock Mike. It was built up to things. And that's really important to keep a feud interesting.
Like
Otherwise,
when we did the Black Demon versus Senior Lucha,
yeah,
like that's a perfect example where it was long enough to mean something, but it wasn't so long that it got diluted and people stopped paying attention to it. Like we put an ending to that.
Yeah.
And then the kind of the natural progression of it, and then we put an ending on it, and it was over.
Right. Poor Senior Lucha.
Yeah, poor Senior Lucha.
So,
Mr. Anderson, our next question.
Part 2 of that question is: are there any dream feuds that you'd like to see that haven't happened yet? One that comes to mind, a name that's come up a lot recently, but one that I think of, and not to ignore all the great possibilities that are out there, but I think of the possibility of having a sustained feud between Joe Boring and Mike Mason. And I think that having those two managers trash-talking against each other could be pretty epic. So that's one that I think of in terms of a feud that hasn't happened yet.
I agree with that.
Gentlemen?
A dream feud that hasn't happened yet? Well, I would say as a general rule, I would like to see more NWL guys come in with sustained fire and go after somebody. Like, a lot of times there's kind of these blanket promos, and it almost works better to just call somebody out who you know is going to trash talk. Like, is not going to, like, miss the promo you write. Right. Instead of, like, the whole, like, attack everybody approach. Because if you attack everybody, they don't know you. They don't know if somebody else might reply. So I would say maybe seeing, like, Jimmy North against Mike Sebastian, like, two good writers head-to-head. We've actually got the 6th annual Best of the 7 series coming up, so I got to figure out who's going to be in that one. So I'm going to try to pair up two people who are really good trash talkers. So
do you know what was a dream feud for me? Jane the Vixen Red versus El Barbaro.
Oh my! What that makes me think of, I'll just mention it real quick, and then we'll move on to our next question. But when you talk about like young guys coming in and making an impact, we've had a lot of that this year. A lot of really good people leaving. But as I'm sure we'll talk about later, Late Night Logan Kane is coming to the BRL. Ooh. And I think he and Dash DeLorean and Peens will definitely have an excellent chance to make an impact. I am super excited to see what he does from here. That said, our next question comes from Kyle. Who is the best ever IWAR World Champion? And please explain why it was Ricky Kyle. I can tell you why it was Ricky Kyle. He beat a longtime champion, didn't he? Who did he beat? It was Agent 26.
It was the mega match.
Okay, but Agent 26 came in as a champion, right?
Yes.
Okay, so he beat a talent like Agent 26. He won a 5-pack challenge match. He was a rookie, and then he held the belt for 10 months. So hard to argue that Ricky Kyle isn't the greatest IWAR World Champion. So I rest my case.
Yeah, I had to look at the list. I think there have been some good ones, obviously, but I would say that one of the things that separate, or at least in my mind, the good versus the not as good, if you will, would definitely be the ability to talk up the championship. We've had a couple of champs who didn't really mention it in their trash talk. Sir Gunther was pretty good when he had it because he did trash talk it a lot. Primetime Alex Styles was a good one because he really built a whole angle around it, and
that was my pick too, motherfucker.
Well, it was so good because he had the whole Senior Lucha's going to coach him to the championship, and then he sent me the promo. Now I'm writing it up, and it's like I'm reading it, and it's like he hugs Senior Lucha, then smashes him with a belt. I'm like, no, but Lucha helped. That was one of my favorites. Yes.
Okay, and Alex, you're going with
Prime. I was Alex Styles.
Okay.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Robbie asks, the IWAR going on, who are some of the best tag teams to participate? And he said we could say maybe this year and save all time for next time. I say let's just do them both. This year, I'll take this year if you guys want to do all time, because I don't feel like I have.
I mean, all time is the
history.
Regulators. That's just the answer.
We're talking about for the IWAR or for the Murano.
I'm talking about all time, just best tag.
Okay, well I think his question specifically is what
who had the best
teams?
run through the Murano?
Correct. I think that's the question. I would say the best teams I see this year, I see Bad Company, I see Suburban Hell Savages, I see Agents of Redemption, I see Beautiful Midnight. They came in and took
I'll be shocked
World Tag.
If
the Savage Americans. I mean, there's the Chaotic.
That was
it's
my
a pretty
pick.
stacked
My pick would be the Chaotics.
I mean, it's a pretty stacked group this year. So those are kind of some of the teams that stick out to me. What about all time? Can you think of anybody who maybe has won a couple Muranos or had a really impressive run?
Has anyone won
What's that?
Has anyone won multiple Muranos?
Yes.
Who's that team?
The Blanchards won it twice in the 90s with Bobby and Johnny. And I can tell you, actually, once I find it. All right, let's see here. Okay, so, I know personally Cash and Fatty winning it was arduous because they went to the finals 3 times and finally won it. And the first time they went to the final was against the Blanchards again, but they're the Blanchards kids, whatever. And it took 3 matches to win it, so that was arduous. But we've had a lot of good teams over the years that have won it. We haven't really had many fluke teams. I mean, there's a lot of good teams, so I think it's, talking all time, there are a lot of teams that have been great teams that haven't won it yet. Like the Regulators didn't win it.
No.
The Von Schnapps haven't won it. But it's one of those events that's really, really difficult to win.
It's hard. It's hard.
It's hard, all right.
So Larry asks a strats question. How do we handle the bottom 5 holds? So the bottom 5, and then do we go for perfect point flow, or are we just mostly trying to avoid the 25? Somebody else want to take?
I'll start. My bottom 5 historically has been 45, 45, 44, 44, and then either a 43 or 42, depending. I keep it real fucking simple. Yeah. And in terms of perfect point flow, I never shoot for perfect point flow because it seems like an impossible task anyway. So I just try to avoid the 25s.
I pretty much just try to avoid the 25s. And what I generally do is if I have a couple cycles ago, I had like a lot of regional champions. That's when I'll play the game of trying to go for flow, because I figure if one of the guys hits it, it's great. If not, no big deal. But I generally try to avoid the 25, so that way, at least if I'm not flow worthy, if you will, at least I'm competitive enough to grab a belt. That's kind of where I lean.
Yeah. And then for the bottom 5, any particular strategy there that you want to share?
Yeah, I can. It's nothing major. One of the things I do is again, both 45s. If 90 is not one of them, I use that, of course. But what I will do is I don't use 43s as much. What I do sometimes is I'll try to use both. Either one of the options I'll do is, for instance, at hold 14 or 15, I'll use one of the 41s. Figuring if it goes to 44, that's great. If it goes to 43, that's great. It's not going to go down. So it's kind of a similar approach to using the 25s in the top 10. You're going to have it go up in value, so you're not going to get hurt. 41 is not going to drop to 39. So it's a way of kind of gaming it to okay, I want to score the best possible points, conservatively. And other times you roll the dice, but most of the time I try to go with a 41 and let hopefully it'll roll up.
Yeah. Fair. For myself, as far as perfect point flow, I would say I really don't think about it too much, mostly because, to be honest, I rarely am shooting for a 501. Mm-hmm. I'm almost always shooting for the 498 to 499 range. And so that'll play into my bottom 5 answer. So I don't really worry that much about point flow. If I do worry about point flow, what I try and do is I try and put what I think will be the lower 30 or lower 25 towards the end, because I know that won't be 30. So if I think, 125 is going to go to 26, I'll put that at the end and hope it doesn't go to 29. But I know at least it's not going to be 30.
Right.
So that's something that I would do if I was worried about it. I almost never am worried about perfect point flow. In terms of the bottom 5 holds, I would consider myself, if I reveal my trade secret, I play, because secrets, here they come. I often will play my back 5 like I was playing a tag strat. And if you're playing a tag strat, you're trying to make sure that you cover like both 44s, and if you're talking about the last 2 cycles, you're covering both 42s. Traditionally, it's been both 43s. So there are cycles where I pick both 43s and both 44s and know that I'll get 45. So I know I'll get 45, and then I'll eat the other 2. But again, since I'm not looking to hit a 501, I'm hoping that my back 5 is good enough that when I hit with my front, I'm still on the title page, if that makes sense. Yeah. I'm not shooting for a perfect back is 221, so I'm often not even shooting for a 221 in the back. I'm just trying to get like 218, 219.
Yeah.
Because to me, I don't have to hit a home run. I just want to hit a double. I just want to get on base. So that's worked out pretty okay for me.
Okay.
All right, next question. I forgot I was the one reading the questions. This is a good one. Who is the greatest disappointment in the NWL, either from, say, their debut and then leaving, or moving on and doing nothing of note? Thank you, Jason. Good question.
That is a good question.
For me, personally, it is Jack Havoc. He won 3 leagues in a row, and then he goes to the BRL, gets shelled, and then leaves the game. And this is a guy that did extremely well for the 17 cycles he was in. He TT'd in everything, and he just goes to BRL and gets fucking shellacked. Bad. Like, he losing in the double digits. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be rough. Matt, who do you got?
I have a few, actually. I won't hold punches here. I'm pretty sure anybody current, but nobody current per se. But there was one of my favorites. There was this Johnny Carnage was doing really great, doing a good job, and then the Patient Stalker cut this amazing promo, of chasing him, and it was really good. I want to say he did 2 or 3 promos, and they were phenomenal promos, and then nothing, gone. And he wasn't inactive, just silent. And I thought, okay, he's blowing up again. He never TT'd again. Then he went inactive. And such a great character, the way it was so well written. I mean, just phenomenal. And gone. That was disappointing. There was one guy years ago called Lars Loki who came in, and he was a good TT'er, and he was too good for the league. So we were like, you should probably move on. So he did, and he similar to Jack Havoc, went to the BRL, had 2 or 3 not so great cycles, and quit. And it's this is the toughest league in the game. Consider it. You can go to, Dead League XYZ.
The Yellow Jacket League.
Hey, don't you knock the Yellow Jacket League.
I thought you were going to say L&L and be really throwing a punch. But come on now. No. But no, seriously, there are leagues you can go to that are not competitive. And again, now with the ability to look at PDFs, that's right. You can look at all these leagues and see which leagues suck or are dead, and you can probably go in there and take some titles. It's such a thing to think about. If you have, let's say, 3 managers, even if they're flooding, you're competing against 3 managers. Whereas in the BRL or IWL or CWL, you have 25 plus managers in each league. Way more competition. So again, it's tough, but this is where our style of play is built around the trash talk, because that makes that game more fun. Because if you just, it's this past cycle, I had 1 regional belt and a TV6 man, right? But the trash talk was good, so it didn't make it a complete waste. And plus, there were tournaments going on, so I was like, okay, I lost this overall. I had a shitty cycle. Did I advance in the tournament? And the answer is no.
I got a second one too. I have another disappointment, and that was.
Hold on. All right,
You're gonna steal mine. I know it. Go ahead.
No, I did the horn of the bus sound, so go ahead, bury him.
Okay. The brothers in question. Remember those guys? There's this one manager right here, 3 guys, and he would sign matches against everyone in the league every cycle.
For all of them.
All of them. So you know how many wrestlers are in the NWL? There's a fucking shit ton.
Yep.
And he would sign matches, and that's when the NWL's match counts were like obnoxiously high, right?
2,000 matches, yeah.
So someone recruits them to some he didn't go to the IWAR.
Well, there was a story behind it. Don't forget the story behind it.
Didn't they promise him a bunch of shit?
They promised him like league title shots and free matches. It was ridiculous. Attaway got into it because I was like, I told him, because he said to me, where should I go? And I said, go where you'll have the most fun. And I said, but just think about this. Think of how the league is. So I know where he went. I won't mention the league. It was NAL. But but he went there and promptly saw it wasn't a trash talk league. He had no fun and left the game. And that's like killing a unicorn. You fucking had a cash cow player who loved the game, who had fun, and you ruined it for him. Fuck you. Sorry, it's not the current commissioner, by the way.
I was going to say, do you want to mention that it wasn't the current commissioner?
Yeah, I will. It was not Mr. Hannibal. But it was a dick move. It was like, dude, you know this guy's into this kind of play, and you don't offer it. I mean, in fairness, I didn't tell him what to do. Maybe I should have been more persuasive and been like, dude, check this league out. You know what? It's just some players. The end of it was a lot of fun to play in, but. Man, That's
the reason I instituted the fucking no ads in the league unless I see it first type thing.
Yeah.
That's the reason why.
Yep.
Because they promised them all this shit that they could not deliver on.
Against all these other leagues. So Matt took mine. I was going to mention not that he was a disappointment, but I would say that it was disappointing that the patient stalker wasn't somebody that we saw more from. I think we were all really jazzed about like the possibilities, and then we just never got any more of that story. So that was probably what I would consider the biggest disappointment. But then also, I have to him too. I have to say I am sad that the magnificent Billy Jack Novak never showed up anywhere else. I loved me some Billy Jack Novak, but it is what it is. Those of you who were not in the NWL that year, you missed out because it was pretty fun. So that's the end of our questions. But we do good questions, by the way. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Riley, it says that there's huge breaking news. Do you want to do that now, or you want to do that later?
I'll get it out now. So a couple of things. Real life gets busy. So my personal life, I have a second job now. So I basically work 2 full-time jobs. And one of the things I want to do is keep the game fun and make it easy. And I just want to also, I know like over the years we've had commissioners come and go into the leagues. And I've been in the BRL since 2010. And that means a report every 3 weeks. What I'd like to do, and I don't know if people know this, but I've always been kind of hoping that my goal is to one day recruit someone to replace me. Like I want someone to come in and take the BRL. And I've got the BRL at a point now where it's like a fine running engine. I've got a great system set up. It works well. We have a lot of fun. I would love to pass the torch to someone. And similarly, the NWL. And the thing about the NWL is I think it's important to have different voices. I mean, we've had myself, we had Bob, we had Jake, we had Alex, I'm back there again, and I think it's important to have new voices in the game and help keep the players energized and excited. And it's a big responsibility because an NWL is a double responsibility because you're not just doing a report, you're grooming these kids to learn, these people to learn the game and move on to the next level. So it's important to me to find someone who can do those things. And rather than sit there and like wait a few months and kind of announce it, I want to announce it now and get people thinking about it. That if you're interested in being the commissioner of the NWL, you need to reach out to me and let me know because I'm very cool with co-commissioning and being by your side while it transitions over. We've got a great setup in the NWL now, but I always tell people feel free to change things a bit. But I think what we have in place works really well. The players are doing great. We have a lot of good TTers. So, both NWL-wise and BRL-wise, I'd love to find someone to eventually pass the torch to. And the BRL has a crap ton of history. The NWL has a lot of history as well. So there's a lot to work with. But I think it's important to find someone, so I wanted to start that search sooner rather than later.
Or you could be on the Tubecast.
Great.
What?
And they could be on the Tubecast.
That's right. You can be on the Tubecast. Because if I stay as BRL commissioner, you get to be the NWL commissioner and talk about all the exciting things NWL.
That's a real selling point. Everybody's going to jump at it now. You can be on the Tubecast with us. Woo, woo.
That's right. Do you like 1 hour pre-shows full of vulgarity? Then you're going to love the Tubecast.
I often don't wear pants.
Oh. That's
And
true.
sometimes my pee smells like asparagus. I don't know why.
Oh. Do you mean asparagus?
No.
Oh, that's the worst part.
Okay. I think we're going to start off with the NWL.
Oh, no. Great.
New Wave League number 129, League Champion JGC. TV Champion Scuba Steve Butler, Atlantic Champion Brahma O'Byrne, Central Champion Dirty David Trotter, Dixie Champion The Enforcer Bobby Zamudio, Eastern Champion The Christian Warrior, Mountain Champion Midnight Toker, Northern Champion Joker, Pacific Champion Billy Club, Prairie Champion Marvelous Mark Clark, Southern Champion Stunning Steve Larson, Western Champion the Maestro Brian Starr, Tag Team Champions the Christian Warrior and the Chameleon, TV Tag Team Champions Victor the Possess, Mazimov, and Salucha. Six-Man Champions Dirty David Trotter, Bram O'Byrne, and Rodney D'Armand. Six-Man Champions Joker, Smoker, and the Midnight Toker. So, Matt, what's going down in the NWL?
Oh, well, this was almost a double-sized issue because of the lack of a report last cycle that got not entered, so it was a lot going on. So we had a little bit of a different format, but this was the Clash of Champions Hardcore Haven. And we had the Young Lions Championship match versus Victor the Possessed Ayazimov versus the Chameleon. A lot going on, and you can read that right now if you go to that. You go to the page. We had surprising upset by the Young Lions challengers, Scuba Steve and Jazz Wolf. Mike Sledgehammer Duggan captured the Rising Star Championship. Victor retained, and Insincere Saul Revere also still has the Money in the Bank match. A little quick note: if you're listening, Saul, we were looking for you. You went inactive, so don't go away. A quick backstage note. We're changing the name of the next Clash of Champions, which was originally called Clash of Champions 7 Pound Town, to Clash of Champions NWL Con. The match will take
Wait.
place-
You're not keeping Pound Town?
No, a lot of people wrote to me and said, like, isn't that like a sex thing? And I was like, well, all right, whatever. But I had a good
It's
idea.
not.
You knew it when you did that.
I just thought it was a smash town. But anyways, we're changing the IWAR Con, and the fun part is the whole Clash of Champions will take place inside a convention surrounded by fans dressed up like other wrestlers. What could go wrong? So
Nothing.
NWL-wise, a lot going on. We have Racer McKay arrived, and he's looking to really make a lot of impact here. Showtime Tommy Christopher still very talkative, lots going on. I love that Sal Chica is an angry wrestling dog, so he gets the title that once belonged to Ted the Wrestling Bear. Because I don't
He's
think
a zombie bear now.
that's right. Because didn't Luther throw him in the piranhas, or?
Yeah, he died and then came back as a zombie.
He was a White Walker.
Racist.
Did any trash talk stand out to you folks?
I want to talk about my good longtime personal friend. I want to talk about Drew Chesser. Now, Drew Chesser is the manager of Josh Gordon, Tony Rose, and Mike Duggan. And he has an issue with a lot of the NWO players using profanity and their and their trash talk. So, guys, For fuck's sake, stop fucking cursing in your motherfucking TT. Fuck. Please. Stop doing that shit. And stop using profanity in your finishers, dickheads.
Well, I can segue that into a quick side story, so people are aware. We mentioned it a little bit last time, but there was a player who submitted trash talk that mimicked another player's trash talk and looked like their trash talk. Everyone thought it was that player's trash talk. And a reader, one of the players, complained about the what was in there, and because it crossed a couple of lines, and that player got blamed for it, and they were like, "Yo, I didn't do it." So long story short, the IWA straightened it all out, but the guy who did write it, he apologized profusely, but he's left the game. He felt that he couldn't play in a game like this. But it goes to an important point. The IWA is supposed to censor all of these interviews or promos. And if you hang around long enough, I've seen shit. I'm trying to think all the various. Well, I've heard lots of things get through. I've seen lots of things get through. But again,
Butt Buddies is my favorite that got through on someone's TT.
What's that?
Butt Buddies got through one time.
Oh, yeah.
Someone wrote Butt Buddies.
Yeah, I've had people say stuff to me. Generally, they try to do a good job of it, but I think, honestly, that they don't really pay much attention.
It's a lot.
Yeah. I think maybe these are word search and just check for certain words. I don't know, but a lot gets through. And, I mean, some of it's obviously stupid. I mean, my favorite thing ever, I think, was somebody had a match once where the stipulation was a personal massager on a pole match. And that was kind of funny, like whatever. But I think at a certain point, I get the DX type approach, like, oh, I'll be outlawed and I'll say all these random things. Okay, but, keep in mind that, again, this is a kid's game. Kids play it. So, just focus on that part of it, I guess. So
if you're going to do edgy shit, you got to be prepared to take some backlash every once in a while. It's part of the deal.
Right.
Now, if you're going to push the envelope, eventually you're going to cross the line maybe not intentionally, but you probably will. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
And if the IWA comes down on you, don't get upset about it. Just like, okay, I can't do that, but let me do something else then. Although apparently, the wire hanger abortion got through for my TT in the BRL last year. So, stuff happens.
I've had some stuff get through that was very edgy, especially Bad Company. And I think I made the point last time that, back in the 90s, I was one of the guys that caused some of the censorship to happen because Scott and I used to really push the limits of what we wrote. It happens. But again, stay focused on the game. And, that's, would this get through on live TV if you were watching a promo wrestler? And, I know if you watch, New Japan, they swear in the press conferences. And, yeah, it's an edge to it, sure. But if you want to have a wider audience, you got to keep in mind what you can get on the air. So just keep that in mind. All right, so Mr. Anderson, what did you like about Trash Talk?
Well, if you would indulge me a moment, I would like my esteemed colleague to read the TV Six-Man Champions one more time. Would you be willing to do that?
Sure. It is Joker, Smoker, and Midnight Toker.
Can you hear this sweet jam?
I can.
Yes.
Thanks for the copyright strike there, Mr. Anderson.
Hey, you're welcome.
I like to think that
nobody's listening. Believe me, nobody's listening. Nobody's listening.
43 people listen every 3 weeks, Mr. Anderson. What are you talking about?
I'm 42 of those people.
Oh, okay.
So what I would like to talk about for my trash talk is the end of the line or end of the road in the NWL for the Omega Squadron. Very cool couple pages, in my humble opinion. Got a picture. We've got all the accomplishments that they have earned, which are many. They have definitely had a very prolific year in a year that was very tough in the NWL. They have done very well. And then on their second page, they kind of go through some of their more highlighted moments, and they talk about some of the new players that are in. So if you haven't had a chance to read it, I definitely recommend checking it out. It's a good way to kind of bookend their last cycle in the NWL. So looking forward to see what the Omega Squadron does next.
Yeah, win the IWL six-man championship the first cycle in, most likely.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see if the Chaotix or the
Stop being
Regulators
so
or the Fabulous
offended.
Three Birds
You're mad.
have anything
They're
to
gonna
say
win it
about
all.
that.
I'm gonna put them in the 4-pack challenge, and then they're gonna win the belts. All right, is that it? Is that it for the?
Kind of cool.
Is that it for the NWL?
Yes, for now.
Okay, yes for now. All right.
Ominous.
It's becoming a train wreck quickly. Next up is the CWL Continental Wrestling League number 232. League champion Timothy Zabopowski, TV champion Luther Alexander, United States champion Sebastian Zabopowski, Yukon champion Donathan Zabopowski, Caribbean champion Anthony Zabopowski, Amazon Basin champion John Body, British Isles champion Kenneth Zabopowski, Arabian champion Vincent Torrio, South African champion Fredzone Frederick Goodfellow, Siberian champion Big Blank number 3, East Asian champion Hazard, Oceanic champion Barry Taken E. Stevens, Tag Team champions winning 5 free matches, James and Billy Stone, TV Tag Team champions Derek Dark, Nightmare Johnny Carnage, 6-man champions The Philosopher Elijah Davis, Lubrigius, Lauren Odor, The River Dancer Mike Collins, TV 6-man champions Victor Axel and Alex von Schnapp. Hey, Mr. Anderson, what's going down in the CWL?
Quite a bit. I don't know how much. Nothing ever. So I would mention we did have over 100 cards again, and I only mention that again because I just want to send out a friendly reminder, even though everybody probably knows by now because I say it every time, that managers get 10 free matches with each match deal they do. That's for everybody. So just make sure that you are taking your 10 free matches, please, if you do a match deal. So we came out of Crossroads, had our results listed this time. Now we are looking forward to our next pay-per-view of Snap, Crackle, and Pop. Thought that was pretty, because Snap. Anyway,
Are you gonna put the picture on a Rice Krispies box?
Not yet. It is possible. It is possible. It is possible. So our best of 5 series for the Continental title and the Supreme Tantum title began. Next cycle, the National and Deluxe Tantum series began. Our Eastern and Western titles continue to be defended every cycle. If you're interested in more of that information, please check out my post on the IWAR Network page. If you're not a member of the IWAR Network page, please join. Answer the questions. That would be wonderful.
Answer the goddamn questions. What the hell's wrong with you people? People have delete because they don't answer questions? Answer the questions.
They are there for a reason.
Yeah, keep up
it's
the
not
weirdos.
Just because Alex likes to read.
No, I read at a 3rd grade level. Don't you people understand this?
So small
you see
words.
Me pronounce names on the title page. It's ridiculous. I have a learning disability. Don't judge me.
I do want to congratulate John Body for winning the Battle Royal and earning 25 free matches. The Four Corners Invitational, I managed to secure 16 wrestlers for that. 7 of which have paid. The other 9 I spoke with after the cycle ran, and they have committed paying this cycle, so we can get that started. Do we want to go to TT?
We can.
I say let's do it. What did you gentlemen have for Trash Talk?
I like the Stablecade 2019 Trash Talk, benefiting the Jim Ripka Medical Fund. As a little side note, but it was not Trash Talk, but I did like the fact that they are using the Stablecade as a fundraiser.
Yes, for sure. Please join Stablecade. Even if you're not in a stable, you can join Stablecade and they will enter you as like an independent wrestler. And you will be with all the other independent wrestlers.
Yes, I'm entering 10 and I never do Stablecade. I will say this. I enjoyed one particular thing made me snort out loud when I read it, and that was Luther Alexander calling Ethereal Guardian Garbage Man.
He is a garbage man. He's a homeless guy.
For those of you who don't know, the Ethereal Guardian was a championship, 2-time IWAR world champion, and he retired a long time ago. And Forgotten Vagrant was a homeless man who fought Barry Stevens for quite some time. And he found the old gear, put it on, became the new Ethereal Guardian. And he hasn't been as good as that old Ethereal Guardian, but he's battling Luther Alexander, which is admirable. I don't know why it struck me so funny, but it did. And I did enjoy, I'm probably stealing someone's thunder here, Big Bad Bob's Can of Whoop Ass. Speaking of things getting through the censors, but Ass got through, but that's okay, because, it's Can of Whoop Ass. So there's my submissions.
So do we think Big Bad Bob looks like Goldberg because he uses Goldberg's music, or you think he looks like Stone Cold Steve Austin because he has a can of whoop ass? Like if Mr. Anderson, if you had
Goldberg looked identical.
I know that's the joke. But which one would you pick to put on the cover on the next CWL magazine? If you were doing a cover for Big Bad Bob,
Goldberg.
Would you go Goldberg or Steve Austin?
No, I'd go Goldberg. Goldberg all the way. Thanks for ruining my next cover, by the way. No, I'm just kidding. I do love you, Big Bad Bob, but not this time.
Not that much. I want to talk about the Wears Club with Rad, Fast, Hester, and Fester. They finally started talking. I thought they were mutes, and I was very excited. Looks like they're going after Peter Cross and the Bone Cutters. So, let's see what they do going forward. So I'm very, very excited that the Wears Club has started TTing, and I look forward to what they're going to do here in the future.
I have like 2 pages of notes, and I realize that I am not supposed to talk about everybody. So
because we're already 40 minutes into this thing.
Right. Okay, so I will just hit some highlights. Okay, so a lot of people wrote really great stuff. I seriously have like 2 pages of notes. So quickly, Oddball Express are going to retire. They're going to start the Oddball Express Food Company with Candy and Griselda. I think that's hilarious. I am so sad that they may be retired, but selling cotton candy and armadillo stew sounds pretty good for Pokey and Milton. I want to mention the 2 promos with Winston Smith and Aaron McFleece. Winston Smith says for sure TMS is dead. Aaron McFleece says pretty much the same in his promo. In his promo, Winston Smith grabs Dale the Owl and punts him into the crowd. and I had
Isn't he a robot?
He punts him into the crowd. That made me laugh out loud, and then something that Luther said in one of the other leagues made me laugh out loud too. So yeah, poor Dale I think is finished. We had the debut of Murder Inc. Jammin' James Andrews lights out Jason Walker, who interfered in an important crossover match, and Excellence Eric Sickler. So they gave a very good interview. They say they're here to win gold. They're going to start with John Body and Beautiful Midnight. I think that could be very cool. We have Kenzuki Tanaka. Please tell me if I butchered that first name. It's a very good promo. It's kind of heartfelt. He's coming back. One of the managers of another wrestler that he had formerly teamed with passed away, and so kind of in his honor, he's bringing back that wrestler to try and get that wrestler placed in the Hall of Fame. So I think that's pretty admirable. Looking forward to seeing Tanaka and hard-hitting Harry. So welcome them. The Violence Award this cycle has to go to Mike Mason, who at Crossroads used bolt cutters and beat the ever-living tar out of Billy and James Stone after they managed to get the victory. And he uses, I know, the real Mike Mason is back. He uses bolt cutters, and it sounds like he breaks the finger of Billy. So he's not messing around, folks. And last but not least, Dan Maggot says that tweeners are even worse than baby faces. I don't know why. For some reason that really struck me. He's like, nobody cares about him. But he says then that there's no better example of this than Johnny Carnage and Derek Dark. So shots fired against the Carnage Squad by Dan Maggot and his kind of henchmen, the lowest of the low. That is
Carnage Squad has been silent.
Super. Carnage Squad has done pretty well for themselves. Yeah, they've won some titles. They've promoted a lot. They beat the Lone Wolves at the pay-per-view. I think Carnage Squad is coming on strong. So I'm excited to see either Dan Maggot against one of them, or maybe his lowest of the low team against both, or maybe a 6-man. I don't know. Anyway, I'm excited to see it no matter how it goes. So that's my quick synopsis, and everyone should join DinoFlex.
DinoFlex is awesome.
DinoFlex is awesome.
All right. Next up.
What did you? Oh, you guys already did yours. It's like, did you guys have yours? But you already did yours.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I
first.
think I've had too many beverages.
Okay.
Let's go to the next one.
Next up, Battle Royal League number 530, League Champion, Double R, Rob Ratcliffe. TV Champion, Chief, Bold, Gray, Fox. Atlantic Champion, Party Time, Eric Goulardi. Central Champion, El Barbaro. Dixie Champion, Nasty Critter, Brian Rotten. Eastern Champion, Nasty Critter, Brad Core. Mountain Champion, Dark Phoenix, FS. Northern Champion, Moon Warrior. Pacific Champion, Magnificent Marvin Moyer. Prairie Champion, Matthew Von Slaughter. Southern Champion, the intellectual Cornelius Crowley. That's that. Cornelius Crowley. Western Champions, Apocalypse. Tag Team Champions, Sax Gotha and Nature Boy Tommy Landell. TV Tag Team Champions, Patrick O'Malley and Punk Rock Mike. 6-Man Champions, Broken Keenan Crowley. International... the intellectual Cornelius.
It's 2019, you know?
Solomon the Strongman Crowley. TV 6-Man Champions, Bitter Cold Becky, Agent 26, and Punk Rock Mike. So, Matt, what's going down in the Battle Royal League?
Not a thing.
Not a damn thing.
Well, quick nod to Catfish Rob for capturing the league championship with the BRL. He's been chasing it a long time. Also snagging the TV belt. We just had the massive pay-per-view WrestleRama, so that was 2 big pages full of match write-ups.
Oh, who won the Battle Royal?
Who won the Battle Royal?
Oh.
Nobody. No, it was won by Party Time Eddie Goulardi. Don't call
$50 IWA credit.
Open up a natty ice for that one.
That's right. $50. So once again, that Battle Royal in the BRL earns you IWA credit. So there it is. Don't miss out. Join the Battle Royal. And it's 2-for-1 entries to get into the Battle Royal in the BRL. So it's a good deal, too.
The BRL is no longer special.
It is no longer special. That's right. Well, that's teasing for our next thing. So we'll leave it at that for now. BRL, just so heads up, we're adding a couple of pay-per-views to make the schedule work out right, so the write-ups can be more timely, working as far as before we had like 4 pay-per-views. Now we're doing 6, but it works out better. The next one is Money in the Bank. So if you look at the Battle Royal League, you'll see all the matchups. The winners of those matchups move on to the Money in the Bank match. I was asked by someone to possibly put together a roster listing all the people in the global division. And in the BRL, we have the global title, which that champion can compete for a shot at the IWAR World Championship, and then the Unified Championship, which competes for 5 free matches. And the idea essentially is if you have 3 wrestlers, one of them can go into the global division. If you have more than 3, if you have 5 or more, you can do 2 wrestlers in the division. So it makes it so that your top wrestlers should be going for the global championship. So I'm working on putting a page together, kind of a quick snapshot of everybody who's in the global division. There's only about 30 people in there, but again, the BRL's big, so we'll do what we can to kind of give you little snapshots of who's in there and competitively. We had a lot going on. I think the top story would probably be the tragic disappearance of the International House of Pain. Breaking news, the plane carrying multiple wrestlers, including Vampiro Gato, Asuka Okada, Victor Kane, Ragnar O'Reilly, Christian Steele, and Ed Deadly vanished over the Pacific, and all those wrestlers are now missing, leaving only Hawaiian Lion Rob Johnson behind to compete, and he is going to do so to get into the Hall of Fame and then retire so he can honor them. So that's the top story. But what story stood out to you, Mr. Anderson?
For me, there were several. If you are still willing to indulge me, now I remember. It wasn't something Luther said, and I hope I'm not taking anybody else's. But he set fire to Catfish Rob's humble abode, and when Catfish came out, he super kicks him so hard that it puts out the fire, and just the image of that like wind gust made me laugh out loud. So there's that.
And he chopped off his finger.
And yeah, I wasn't even going to mention that part. So what there were several really excellent TTs, but I want to talk about another one that I thought was entertaining, and that was the Saskatchewan Sasquatch, who interrupts the villain Victor Kane's promo, punches him, knocks him out. Lucy comes in and says, it's been dictated that everybody has to cut promos or give interviews. Consider this our screen appearance. And that's it. Yep. And I'm like, that's awesome. Because we are a trash talk league, and you want people to be actively trash talking, to be involved. But if you have somebody who is more of a silent competitor, how do you do that? So I just thought it was a very creative solution to have him come in, knock him out, and Lucy's like, consider this our obligation fulfilled, you know?
Silent but deadly.
Silent but deadly. That's me every day.
Gross. So someone correct me if I'm wrong, but is El Gato and El Barbero now on steroids?
Well, yeah. Didn't you see
they look like they're on steroids.
It looks like He-Man and Battle Cat from Masters of the Universe.
Yeah, they're on Gato's Bigger is Better mix.
That sounds like a porno.
I think it might be a dream, actually, because you notice El Barbero is napping, and so is El Gato.
Does El Barbero have a copy of the BRL magazine in his hand?
Yes, he does.
I fall asleep reading that all the time myself, so I can't really blame him. Anywho, I want to talk about Lord Sheldon Bishop, who seems to have issues with LePage Turner. Now, we want to make sure that he bowed down to excellence. He's made a mockery and your 500 ways to lose. So, a nice little rivalry between Lord Sheldon Bishop and LePage Turner. So, I'm very excited to see that. Anything else in the BRL before we move on?
Oh, just lots going on. Please keep the trash talk going. It really makes the league fun.
It does.
Pick someone to work with, and send in a sneak attack or challenge them or whatever. Make it fun. It makes my job vastly easier when I'm doing pay-per-views and so forth. So yeah, just stick to it.
All right, I dig that. Next up, IWL Independent Wrestling League number 102. League champion Christopher Destruction. Television champion Johnny WrestleFast. New York City champion Matthew Grabowski. Los Angeles champion Strictly Business. Boston champion Cade the Scorch Weller. Detroit champion Indian Joe. Cleveland champion Graham Underwood. Dallas champion Donathan Annihilation. Memphis champion Monkey Eye Tim. Miami champion Big Bad Red Fox. San Francisco champion Algebra Jones. Chicago champion Queen Vixen Red. Tag team champions Indian Joe and Monkey Eye Tim. TV tag team champions Graham Underwood and Kennedy Cage. The Chaotix there. Six-man champions winning 5 free matches, the Chaotix. Frederick Xavier, Graham Underwood, and Kennedy Cage. And the TV six-man champions, this motley crew of Luther Alexander, Johnny Vegas, and Neo Dragon. So, Alex G, what's going down in the IWL? Well, we're coming off our latest pay-per-view, Soul Survivor, so we have a write-up for that. So please take some time out and read that. A lot of people put a lot of work into this show, so please read it. I'm not going to go through it, but again, some really interesting stuff happening for the pay-per-view. Our next pay-per-view, Wrestle Riot 6, will be cycle number 105, so just keep that in mind. Now, in terms of our tournaments that we have coming up next, which already started the cycle, by the way, guys, we have the 2019 version of Best of the Best and the Young Lions Cup. So, again, each of these tournaments will have championships at stake, well, championship shots at stake. The Best of the Best will be the new number one contender for the IWL World Heavyweight Championship, and the Young Lions Cup will be the number one contender of the Pan Am Championship. So again, the winners of these tournaments will receive 10 free matches. So good luck to those involved. I feel like Mr. Anderson was talking shit in the background.
What? No.
So
No poo was talked.
Okay. So I want to talk about the faux wrestling scorch. Happy now.
That made me laugh a lot.
So things that you need to know for this cycle, fans think Lee Bennett puts his best promo of his career. Turns out he just coughed. Catfish Rob opened his first art gallery sponsored by Crayola. Neo Dragon calls himself the champion of the 1%. Math Club verifies he's way overestimated. An exclusive interview with Robert Race will unveil his perfect margarita recipe. So that always cracks me up every cycle. It's actually one of my favorite things that happens in the IWL every cycle. And in terms of TT this cycle, so Mr. Anderson would fuck off. Tired.
Oh.
Mr. Anderson, what do you have for us in terms of TT?
Oh, geez. Okay. I would like to talk about the Math Club.
Ooh.
And how they are still. They're talking first about the Johnny B Cup and the Murano, and how they expect to do well in those events. Thank you for talking about those. Always nice to build those up. Then they talk about the Three Birds, and I'm telling you, because the Three Birds have been doing such good stuff, and I'm like, they need a good feud. And so when Math Club retorts the Three Birds joke about their math skills in this promo, I got instantly excited. I would love to see super good contest between those two teams. The Math Club, of course, continues to reveal to us that ratings are both up and good, and that they have the perfect qualifications and plans to conquer both the IWL and the IWAR at wide.
I don't know how the Math Club is. I don't know how the Math Club is computing the ratings since the IWL TV show is only on in Tijuana.
They have informants, I'm sure.
Matt, what do you got for us?
Well, I will say a little home brewing, just because I have certain things I get a kick out of, and it's Jim Cornette's fault, really. But the Gentleman's Club promo with William Worthy wearing a neck brace and cane, I've always loved that over-the-top heel move of like, I can't do anything because I'm wearing a neck brace, so clearly I'm not able to wrestle. That approach always makes me laugh. But this cycle, once again, I'm gonna call out Midnight Rider and Magnum TL for doing a great job with their promos. Again, less is more, making the most out of a snapshot, but bang, really strong stuff. So I appreciate their work. It's setting up a fun showdown at Wrestle Riot between the American Savages and Midnight Rider and Magnum TL. So,
and you can tell that the Midnight Rider is still in Revolution Extreme because he uses the phrase "risky business" in his promo.
He did.
I noticed that. Very excited.
He did.
Yeah.
Very happy about that. That was a nice little touch. So in terms of me, there's again a lot of good TT going on this cycle. Once again, Neo Dragon doing big things. Again, his TT right now is, I think, it's towards the top in terms of the IWL. But Jamie Montgomery this cycle literally throws fire in Luther and Neo's face and burned them.
Uh-oh.
So there's going to be hell to pay for that. I can tell you that right now.
Oh, boy.
Someone might die. I think someone's going to get hit by a car. I think it's a DeLorean's going to come through. And,
Eddie Gilbert, Jerry Lawler time.
you stole it from me. The Goon Squad once again started TTing, so I'm very happy that the Goon Squad TT, so I don't have to strip Robbie Blood of his championship. Thank God. So very excited. Again, they have a pay-per-view match coming up shortly, so stay tuned for that. He's going after the Backstabber, who is a strange individual. I don't know what his deal is, but I don't know. I don't like him. Just don't like him. I hope the Goon Squad eats his lunch.
Okay.
The Backstabber's going to throw fire at you, sir.
Yeah, well, we don't know. Okay, fantastic. Okay, guys, what do we got?
There's a big announcement for the IWL, isn't there?
Oh, fuck yeah. So we have an announcement for the IWL. We're going to have 2-for-1 Battle Royal entries moving forward.
And?
10 free matches.
To who?
To the winner.
I wanted you to send like the 10th wrestler out just to piss people off. Oh.
One day I will tell the whole story regarding my tone of this prize.
Yes, that's fine.
And make sure you join the Battle Royal.
Yep.
2-for-1.
2-for-4.
Yeah, save some money. Join the Battle Royal. Win a championship. That'll be pretty sweet.
Yes.
All right. So, Mr. Anderson, what do you got IWAR wide for us?
Excellent question. I would first like to mention that we will have some previews in the next report for the Summer Series, the Super Trios Cup, as well as the All Rookie Cup, which will be exclusive to our NWL competitors. Next cycle is the last of 6 cycles for the IWAR draft contest. Matt, can you correct me if I'm wrong? The winner gets a shot at the Revolution Championship and
10 free.
10 free matches. Awesome. Thank you. I thought it was 10. I didn't want to say if I was wrong. Joe Boring is the new Revolution champion. I know.
So?
That Joe Boring guy. His first title defense will not be this cycle, not April. It'll be the cycle after against the winner of the Bound for Glory, which was, or no. Yeah. Wait. Graham won Soul Survivor. That's what it was. So he will have his first defense against the winner of Soul Survivor, which was Graham Underwood. I know. So the Johnny B Cup is down to the final 32 wrestlers. Those wrestlers are listed on the IWAR Network page. If you're not on the IWAR Network page, I encourage you to join. Please answer the questions. So
answer the goddamn questions.
Please. The Murano Memorial Tag Team Tournament is down to the final 24 teams. That is also posted on the IWAR Network. And then last but not least, we did have somebody submit something for Outside the IWAR, the Revolution Wrestling League, for whatever it's worth.
The real one or the fake one?
The real one. The real one. I'm not going to discuss the fake one. I'm not going to discuss it.
Lame.
Revolution Wrestling League, to me, is one of the, real talk, one of the best things going in the IWA today. It's a great league. It's got great people in it for the most part. It's got a great commissioner. It's active. It's competitive. I think it's fantastic. So I was really happy that they submitted something for our Look Outside the IWAR. Particularly if you're looking for a women's league that's actually, doing something. Revolution Wrestling League is where it's at. So thank you for that.
All right, guys. So we are officially out of time. So for Matt Riley, for Mr. Anderson, I'm Alex G.
I hope everybody